After yesterday's discussion about the OS level file systems, okay. So today we'll discuss about the some of the performance related transaction codes here. So performance related transaction codes, SAP performance related transaction code, performance related transaction code here. So what is mean by performance related transaction codes here? Here, so the first transaction code is called the ST01 for the system trace option. So system trace ST01, ST02 tune summary. Here the buffers, swaps, so SAP memory areas. So etc. we can check in the ST02 here. So ST03 in the ST03 is ST03 or ST03N. Here we can check the workload analysis. ST03 we can check the workload analysis here. Workload analysis here. In the SAP system, if you go ST01, we'll start with the ST01 here. Okay, ST01 here. In the ST01, we can find out the things here. So see here in ST22, yesterday we did the fix of the dumps, right? See here, all the dumps are stopped at 12 only. Today no dumps, which means whatever the job we stopped yesterday, that job is the the main contributors which for the issues. So now we fixed the job. The job we have disabled it here, right? So now you see here nothing, none of the dumps are happening in the systems here. So that is what I have asked you guys to investigate it here. It got stopped at 11. So it got 11 and during our class timings, so we have stopped that the dumps, it got stopped. Okay, now no more dumps are happening in the systems here. That is what we have to investigate it like this here in the systems. Okay, so that is fine. But today we are discussing about the ST01. ST01 is for the trace functionalities, tracing, system trace. ST01 is for the system tracing here. So in the system trace, I think it's already on. System switch on. So which means here we can check the authorization trace, kernel trace. So whatever the table, RFC calls, HTTP calls, anything trace. Suppose you have existing logs are there in the work directory ST22, SM21. Those logs are not enough to troubleshoot the issue, investigate the issue, find out the cause and everything. So in that case, you can just switch on the, you can select the whatever the trace. Suppose you want to check the HTTP calls, you want to check the RFC calls. Then in this case, you need to check the RFC calls. Then so check the trace levels here. Then you can switch on the trace. Then you can switch off the trace. We can perform the analysis of our systems. We can perform the analysis here. You can perform the analysis so that it will display the what is wrong, what went wrong. All the information will be displayed here. So currently there are no history or traces are available. It's not displaying anything. So but that in the previous history we have available, so those logs are generated. You can see those logs are generated here. So authorization trace, so some other whatever it may be, all the logs are generated here. All the logs are generated here. So all the logs are generated. So depends upon the time, you can which user, which area, which time. So you can find out the yesterday's one. You can find out the all the logs and everything. We can find out the information here. This is called the system trace. So system trace, when we will take, in case existing logs are not enough to find out the cause, then we can switch on the trace. Suppose in the existing logs, there are no RFC calls, no HTTP calls, no APC calls, AMC calls. So nothing is there here. So you cannot find out the root cause here, what is happening in the system during the RFC procedure. So in that case, you need to switch on the trace, system trace, we have to on it. Then we have to on it, wait for some time, ask them to reproduce. Once the error is generated, switch off the trace, then you can perform the analysis here to find out the root cause here. Or you can save these log files and inform to the SAP, they will investigate it, what's going on with your system, right? So this ways we can perform the tracing, system tracings, we can perform it here, okay? So this is the way, so we can perform the system trace options, we can perform it here in the systems, okay? So that is the one, that is the ST01 here. So the next transaction code is called the ST02, is for the tune summary. Tune summary means here we can check the buffers, swaps, SAP memory areas. So these are the main thing here we can check in the ST02 transaction code here. So this is the ST02 transaction code here. Here buffers. So in SAP, we have the buffers. So programs are stored in the program buffer, CUA, screen buffer, calendar buffer, OTR buffer, table buffer, export import buffer. So name tab buffer, we have the buffers are there here. So these buffers, so buffers means it will store the some kind of data, SAP data. Suppose if you see here, SAP architecture here, this is the presentation layer. So then this is the SAP present. Just 1 minute. Yeah, sorry guys. Let's resume. So ST02 here, like we are discussing about the ST02 transaction code tune summary here. In the tune summary here, so we have SAP and application server. So we have the database, right? So we have the database here. So here, so application like SAP GUI2. So we have the application layer and so database. So this is our architecture, right? So in SAP, we have some buffers actually. So to store the database level data, always the request will not directly go to the database level. Always it should not go to the directly to the. Here we have some buffers concept here in SAP level, like buckets concept. Buffers like some buckets concept here. So in this buffers, program buffer, CA buffer, calendar buffer, export import buffer. So we have the buffers are there here. Buffers are there in the SAP level here. So buffers are there here in SAP level. So whenever any request, whenever whenever anything, first it will go request SAP level. First it will go to the buffers. It will check in the buffer whether you have already in the buffer. The frequently accessed data will be stored into the buffers. The frequently accessed data will be stored into the buffers here. In any case, so if the data is not available here, then the request first of all, it will go to the buffers and it will check whether data is exist in the buffers or not. If it is not exist, then the request will go to the database level. Then it will pull the data from database level from data tables. So then one copy of data, it will be stored the data in the buffers. Then same will give the response. So that is the way sometimes when you are accessing when you are accessing the one transaction code, the first time it will take some time. The second time it will give the huge response here, right? Suppose if I use the VL02, suppose example sales related transaction code. We never used VL02, right? See here how much time it will take VL02. See here how much time it is taking. It is checking in the buffer. It is checking in the buffer. See here time. So it is checking in the buffer. Then there is no data not available in the buffer. Then it will go to the database level. It will fetch the data. Then one copy of data stored here in the buffer. It will show the user's display. Now it showed the display, right? So it will show the user's display. Now we got the response. So same again execute VL02. Now see how fast you got the response. Why? First time you got the very slowness. First time you got the very slow, right? Second time, see how much response time you got it. So within 190 response, 265 milliseconds, you got the response. So which means, so the first time when you are accessing any data in the SAP, when you are using any page or anything, it will take some time to load the data. Slow means system is not slow here. In the buffers, there is no data. Then immediately it will go to the here. So then it will fetch the data here. So then it will give the response back to the user. Second time, sir, why it is very speed means when first time it is accessing, it will store the one copy of data into the buffers here, either the program buffer, CA buffer, calendar buffer, screen buffer, export import buffer, table buffer, whatever it may be, many buffers are there. So it will store the one copy of data here, one copy of data inside of the buffers here, right? So that is the one thing here. So suppose example, one more example, material related, MyGo transaction code I am using. Click on enter button. See here, it is compiling and it is checking. See here how much time it will take now. Why? Because we never used these transaction codes, right? So first time we are using. So it may take some time. These are the sales functional related transaction codes. See here how much time it is taking to pull the data from the database level. First it will check the data into the here. There is no data in the buffer. There is no data. It is checking in the buffers. So there is no data. Then it went to your database level. It will check the data in the database level. Then it will pick up the data. Then one copy of data will store the buffer. Then it will give the response to the user here. So next time when you are accessing the similar kind of data, so then next time when you execute the same transaction code in the SAP level, it will check, okay, the data is there in the buffer. So immediately it will pick up the data. It will give the response back to the user. Response back to the user. So we are saving this much of time from here to here. We are saving the this much of time here. So see here, still it is searching. It is compiling the programs. Then sales related everything it is compiling. Then it will give the display. See here how much time it will take this time. See here now, just if you see here how much time. So response time is a 390 milliseconds. The response time is 390 milliseconds. The transaction is MyGo transaction, 390 milliseconds, right? It's a goods related purchase order, goods related transaction code here. So go back here. Again, use the same transaction code here. So now this time, see how much time it's taken now. So this time it's like, so 875 means but we got, which one we have to check this one. Something wrong here. So, but we got the immediate response, we got it here. See here, response we got, immediately we got the response. Previously, it's taken the much time. It's taken the much time here. So now, immediately, so we got the response here. Immediately we got the response in the systems here. Immediately we got the response here, right? So material document here. So here, the functional team, they will purchase. Suppose if you purchase something here, the documents they will pull from here. They will pull the data from here, right? So here the basically here the buffers are helping the buffers. The buffers are helping to pull the data from the database level. To pull the data from the database level here. So here we can check the buffers hit ratio, means in out of 100 requests, how many requests are hitting the buffers? How many 100 requests are hitting the buffers? Out of 100, so how many are hitting the buffers here? How many are hitting the buffers here? So that is called the hit ratio, hitting the buffer. Here almost 99% buffers hit ratio always should be 95 plus. If the buffer hit ratio 95 plus, then your system performance is very good. It's not very slow. So see here all are 99, 99, 95 except one or two buffers. Initial record buffer and OTR buffer and export import buffer. So remaining all are the 99. It's very good actually. So which means system performance is okay. It's not very slow. System performance is okay here. So how much allocated KB MB space, free space currently, and free directory space here. So free directory percentage here, swaps. Here everything is 0, 0, 0, 0. Then one is like 20,000. That is called the CA buffer. CA buffer. So which is having the swaps. So swaps are coming means your buffer space is getting slow. Buffer is low here. Swaps are getting means your buffers are low here. Buffers are low here. So that is the very important here. So which means when the buffers does not have enough free space to store the data, that time your swaps may occur. When the swaps occurs, buffers does not have enough free space. Your buffers does not have enough free space. That time the swaps may occur here. Swaps may occur in the systems here. So swaps may occur in the systems here. So that is the one thing here. So if the buffer capacity here, each buffer there is a space. If the space is limit is over, then overflow happens, right? Suppose inside of the tab bucket, you put the one bucket, you adjusted the one bucket here. That bucket capacity is the 30 liters. Then water is, you are pouring the water, the continuously are pouring the water. Then 30 liters capacity is over. Then what will happen? What will happen? Then water overflow will happen, right? Water overflow will happen, right? From the bucket. Same as like here, buffer is called the bucket. each buffer there is a limit, space limit is there. So space limit, allocated space limit is there here. So here any buffer which is having less space means space already over, that time the overflow will happen. So the overflow here, overflow called the swaps. The swaps will occur here. The swaps will occur here. So here we can find out how much and history. So all the thing each day, how much swaps are occurring, all kind of information we can find out from here in the systems, right? You can see here. So it's very less. I think last Tuesday, so we have 0, then keep on increasing, then it's increased. So when this, whenever you restart the system, all the buffers related data will be flushed out. So again, it will come to the 0 here. Again, it will come to the 0 status here. So that is the reason the buffers, when we don't have enough free space here, the buffers will throw the swaps here. Swaps means, so when the swaps occurs means when the buffers does not have free space, the swaps will occur. Got it? Any questions here? Anyone? Now you can understand, right? So when the swaps occurs, when the buffers, when what is mean by buffers, why sometimes system is very slow. So then again, second time when you use, it's a very fast. Then why means, so buffers will fill with that one, the transactions. That's why we have the, so this transaction buffers will fill. That's why we have this data here. So that's why we have the data here, right? So that's the reason here, right? Any questions? Anyone? I unmuted.
Sir,
Yes.
but ST01 is for trace, right?
ST
01?
01 is for the tracing, just
Yes.
tracing, logs
Okay.
gathering.
In tracing, if the trace is off, then unexpectedly we got some P1, and we need to collect that logs and all, sir. But the traces is off. Once
Uh,
we turn on the trace, then will we get the previous logs and all?
no.
So
So
earlier itself, we need to.
then in this case, you need to check either SM21 or in the work directory logs. You can get the logs, normal clues, normal primary investigation logs. You will get from the USR, SAP, SID, so D instance number, work directory. Here you will find out the almost all logs you will get. In worst case scenario, sometimes, so your logs will not be collected, your logs will not be gathered some cases. So in that case, you have to ask, you have to enable the trace, additional trace, you have to enable it here, then ask user to reproduce the issue. Sometimes which cases means, I will tell you the example. So every day at 11 o'clock, every day at 11 o'clock, so one job is getting failed. Every day at 11 o'clock, one job is getting failed. Every day. Other jobs are failed, are successful. Only one job, that is the same job, is getting failed every day. But we need to investigate. But when you check the logs, no errors, nothing is found. Yesterday also failed, today also failed, tomorrow also it will fail. In that case, logs, there is no logs here. Then you can enable the logs here. Whatever the logs you have, just enable it. Then done, trace is on. Then wait for 1 day. The job will fail, right? Then switch off, then enable the trace and see what is happening in the systems. Like that, we can investigate it. Like that, we can see the some logs, some collection, some logs we can collect it here. That's the additional logs. In case normally in the P1 cases, almost the logs will be available in the work directory. That is fine. Sometimes some cases, some logs will not be available. That time trace we have to enable it. Just whenever you have enabled from only that trace only will be from that date to that time to logs will be collected, not the previous days.
Okay, these trace files, these trace log files, additional logs.
Sorry.
Additional logs, sir.
Yeah,
Trace.
additional logs, just kind of additional logs to complete our investigations. These are the some additional logs. So normally we'll check ST22, SM21, so work directory, some other logs. You will check all those things. You got some close, but you need some more logs. In that case, the system is not generating the logs. That time you want to collect the logs, then go to the ST01 or ST05. Both are the tracing only. Just you can enable it. So you want to check the authorization logs. So nothing is found in the system level. Then just enable the authorization trace, like ask user to switch off, then provide the analysis here so that the logs will be collected here. Logs will be collected here.
So this trace should be on by the user, sir?
Yeah, users. So which user you want to enable it, you can enable it, the users.
So we will perform this, or the user
normally functional or the security team, they will perform this traces actually. So from our case, they will ask us to enable it. Then that time you have to go to the ST01, you have to enable the trace. That's it. So sometimes we may have to, they will ask request basis team to investigate it. Why? Because we are the main and whole team for the admin team. So sometimes we may have to perform some investigations. So that time we have to enable the traces.
Okay, sir.
And the other thing, sir, when it comes like overflow, in a buffer things.
Right.
Yeah, when it comes to overflow, what we need to do? That means when we take an example of production, we can't restart it whenever we want.
Yeah.
By the time we can increase the space and everything.
Yeah, we can increase it. For each and every buffer, there is a space. For each and every buffer, there is a parameter. You have some space limitations here. Suppose we have the CA buffer currently, which is in the 3000 KB is assigned. This is the buffer. This is the parameter. So this is go to the profile parameter, then go to the RJ10. We can change it. But so immediately one time we cannot go ahead and we cannot change it the buffers, right? So it's required the downtime. So we may have to go weekend, then we have to change the value, maybe 3000 KB to 4000 KB. We have to increase it. Suppose now currently 3000. Now we can make it to the 4000 KB. Right? We can increase it here. Like that, we can increase it here. Like that, so we can increase it, restart it, the space will be increased. So normally immediately we won't take any action. This type of activities what we will do. So normally only weekends when you are doing the restarts that time. So now when you restart it, this value will be increased to 4000 KB. So which means somewhat better, so that the data will be stored here.
Okay, if it is possible to change in RZ11, we can change it now, sir.
Yes, we can change it.
Because
so
for that no need of restarting.
Sorry, well, I didn't get exactly.
No, I'm asking only whenever using RZ11 only we need to restart.
Okay.
Whenever we are using RZ11.
Yeah. Some parameters are dynamic parameters. In that case, okay, what we can do, RZ11, we can use it, we can change it. So it will be reflected immediately. But some parameters are not dynamic. So in that case, restart is required. See here, this is not dynamic. Only change option is there. Some parameters are dynamic, means without restarting also we can change it. Suppose GWACL mode. This is the change value coming, which means this one we can change it. This one in the online itself, we can change it. So no issues here. So some are dynamic, some are static. Some require the restart, someone not require the restart. Restart required, maybe in the weekends only we have to do the restarts. Till then, we have to wait. Till then.
Yesterday, I tried actually with RJ10. I tried to restart the system. It's not coming actually. Disconnect and all options are there for us.
But system already started, right? You restarted the system?
No, I haven't. I tried, but that option is not there to restart.
System restart option, you have to do it from the MMC. In SAP level, how will you get, normally, how will you do the restart of the SAP systems? You have to go to the MMC, then there you have to, once you set the parameter, here you have to go and restart the systems here. Here you have to restart.
Okay.
Not, so here you have to, so right click and just to restart, stop and start, restart, here you have to use it. Otherwise, stop SAP command, start SAP commands, you have to use it for restart. SAP
Okay.
level, you never get any restart option here. SAP,
Okay.
you never. Here you will set the parameters, just to restart it using the SAP MMC. That's it.
Got it, sir.
Okay.
Buffer means it will store some SAP data.
Yes, SAP.
And one second, I have listened that it will drag data from the database.
Right. So
Uh,
in case, so SAP first what it will do, if you are using some transaction code, first time you are accessing, in that case, first it will check the data in buffer. Okay. Okay. Whether whatever you are using, suppose like some A, B, C, D you want. So in this case, it will check the data in the buffer. If it is not there, then it will go to the database level. It will check the data. It will pull the records. Then it will give the response back to the user. While giving the response back to the user, one copy of data, it will store, because buffers is not there. It will store the data here. Then it will give the response back to the user. So then next time, any other user or any same user, when he wants the similar data, that time the data already there, previous user. So then it will pick up the data from here, then it will show the result to the user. So that's why when the buffer does not have the data, that time it will go to the DB level. When it is going to the DB level, that time it will take some time to give the response. It takes some time to give the response. Suppose example, we have seen the previous some transactions, right? At the same time, one more transaction, PA30. Okay, PA30 transaction, the HR related. So see here, so it's taking some time now. See here, it's taking some time. See loading, it's compiling, loading, and it will going to the database level. So it clearly it is saying there is no data in the SAP level, maintain the HR master data. There is no data here. Then it is going to the database level. It will pull the data from the database level. Then while giving the response back to the user, one copy of data which will store in the data in the buffer level. It will store the data in the buffer level. So now see how much time taking. This is the HR master data. So pay slips, bank details, salary, payrolls, all these details, our employee numbers, personal numbers, everything we will maintain the SAP level. So depends upon the monthly salary, you will get the salaries here, right? So this kind of work, our HR team, they will perform it here. They will create the IDs and everything. They will store it here. So that is fine. But now see how much time taken here, right? Now go back to the here. Now execute PA30 here, right? Now see how much fast you got the response again. Again, when you executed the same transaction code, you within fraction of seconds, you got the data, right? Response you got from the page, you got it at least, right? So which means what happened? In the first attempt, what happened? In the second attempt, what happened? In the first attempt, it will check the data here. So there is no data. Then it will go to the database level, which means request is going from here to DB level, searching in the database level, pulling, getting the data, then giving the response back again. These timelines are taking time. Then it will store the data here, then give the response back to the user. Same as like, that's why it's very slow during the initial screen. Initial screen, it is initial time storing the data here. While storing the data, if the buffer node does not have the enough free space, so then overflow will happen. So that's why. So that is the reason. If the bucket already full, again you are pouring the data, means overflow will happen, right? So same concept of the buffers here. That's why you will see the swaps here. Okay, got it? Any questions, anyone?
Got it.
Okay, that is the buffers.
If overflow happen means we have to increase the memory, right, sir?
Not memory, yeah, space. We have buffer space.
Space.
We have to increase it here.
Okay.
Other worst case scenario, it does not require. When you restart the system, again it will come to the 0 here. The buffers again will come to the 0. So only exceptional cases we may have to restart it. So per day 10,000 swaps are exceptional. If the 10,000 gone, 20,000 coming means really we need to think here. So definitely we need to increase this buffer.
If we restart means the copied data will lose or else still it's
Copy.
exist, right?
No. In the SAP level, the copied data will be lost. Overflow data will be gone.
Okay, sir.
The overflow data gone. Buffers will start from start. It will link the data from start. That's why each and every restart, the first time when you are accessing the system after the restart, it will take some time to load your transactions and data and everything. Why? Because buffers will fill it with the data again. So that's why that is the slowness here. So that is exceptional. That is accepted. So we can ignore it. Sometimes what happens, system restart is done. When the user is logging, it is slow. It is slow. It is slow. Then again, he will respond like, oh, now it is okay, fine, perfectly running fine. Like that, he is only responding again, which means first time it is slow, second time it will be fast. That is the one. Okay, that is the ST02. One ST02 here. The next one, ST03. Okay, shall I explain or will you guys practice this too? It's a very long transaction called ST03. Shall I explain or will you guys practice the all transaction codes once? Sorry?
We'll practice, sir.
Okay. It's fine, right? For everyone. So you guys will practice.
Yes, sir. Tomorrow we can discuss.